Hey, what's up everybody? In this video, we're going to take a look at our very first 2-skill Tsum, Elsa and Bruni from the Frozen series. Let's talk a little bit about the stats first before we get into the ability. In order for you to fully charge Elsa and Bruni, you will need to clear a total of 19 to 24 Tsum, and this is going to depend on your skill level. The minimum score for Elsa and Bruni is 60, and with the maximum score of 1285. So Elsa and Bruni has a really high maximum score, so it's definitely a very good Tsum for high scores. And actually Elsa and Bruni just overall pretty good. And in order for you to max Elsa and Bruni up to skill level 6, you will need to get a total of 36 copies of him. And as you level up Elsa and Bruni, the ability time will last longer and longer, and every single level you go up will be an increase of 0.7 seconds, and it will also require one less Tsum to clear to activate the ability. And really that's kind of where the benefit is at the higher levels. For the lower levels it doesn't change too much, but let's talk a little bit about the ability. So Elsa and Bruni has 2 different abilities, and if you click on the exclamation mark during the Tsum selection screen, you'll be able to see what each ability is. But let's talk a little bit about that here. So there are 3 different skills you could use for Elsa and Bruni. You could either use them individually or combo them and activate the ability at the same time. So the first one I want to cover is Elsa's skill, which is very similar to just the regular Elsa. The description for Elsa's skill is that freezes surrounding Tsum along with the connected ones for a short time. Tap the frozen Tsum to clear them. So essentially that's what it is. You just connect a bunch of Elsas, and then at the very end you could click on them and then it'll pop as one long chain. So next we have Bruni, and Bruni changes Bruni Tsum's color, trace them to clear surrounding Tsum, and clear the ice to get a high score. So essentially what Bruni does is that once you activate the ability, from blue it turns to purple, and all the purple ones that gets cleared, you could chain them even if they're very far away, and if you clear them you get a really high score. And essentially they also burst surrounding Tsums as well, and that way it generates a high score and clears a bunch of coins, and you could get a lot of coins as well. Now the third way of using Elsa and Bruni is activate them together. So what you want to do first is actually activate Elsa's skill first and then Bruni's. And let me actually just share with you the description first. Use Bruni's skill when Elsa's skill is activated to make color change Bruni's Tsum's fall during that time. So what that is essentially is, if you pay close attention, after I activate Elsa's ability and then I activate Bruni's ability, you'll see that there are going to be additional Brunis that will fall from the sky that are powered up. So the ones that will fall are not the regular blue ones, but it's actually the purple one that will continue to fall, and you could continue to clear them as one long chain. So instead of getting one Bruni skill, you could technically get 2 or 3, and that will depend on what skill level you have. So the duration of this will depend on Elsa's skill. So the higher you have Elsa's time, then the more time you have during this ability. So this brings me back to the strategy on how to use Elsa and Bruni. So at the lower levels, and by lower levels I mean like skill level 1, 2, and 3, I found it that it's more efficient if you use Elsa's ability before Bruni's. Because what happens is, when you're doing the frozen ability, after you burst all the frozen Tsums, typically that will activate Bruni's ability. So essentially what I've been doing is I just alternate them. I activate Elsa's and I use her ability, and then I activate Bruni's ability, and then using Bruni's ability I will charge Elsa's ability, and I'll just alternate those two. And I found that to be more useful than combining the 2 abilities together, and I was able to get more coins at the lower levels. Now it does change to at the higher levels though. At the higher levels, what you want to do is activate Bruni's ability right after Elsa's ability. So essentially do what the game is kind of hinting that you should do. This will allow powered up purple Brunis to continue to fall. So at the higher levels it is more efficient to use the second strategy, which is to activate both abilities at the same time. And remember, you have to activate Elsa's ability first before Bruni's, or else additional purple Brunis won't fall from the sky. So you gotta do Elsa and then Bruni's ability. A lot of times you can misclick, so just be a little bit careful when you're doing that. I will be doing another video doing skill level 4, 5, and 6 and show you that strategy. So stay tuned for that, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see a future video for that. But let's get into now a side-by-side comparison. On the left, we have Elsa and Bruni at skill level 1. In the middle, we have skill level 2. And on the right-hand side, we have them at skill level 3. Now, the main difference between all three of these skill levels, it's actually a little hard to tell on one of these side-by-side comparisons. The main difference is that the duration of the ability is longer as you level them up. Skill level 1, you're at 3 seconds during the animation. Skill level 2, you have 3.7 seconds for the ability. And at skill level 3, you have 4.4 seconds for the animation. So for all three of these skill levels, as you can see, I am using my first strategy, which is just use the frozen ability first, and then right after the frozen ability, I go switch to Bruni's ability. And also another thing that you should do is before you activate Bruni's ability, make sure you have one of those magic bubbles handy. And the reason for that is you could activate the magic bubble right after Bruni's is attacking all of these Tsums, so that way the Tsums will fall from the sky quicker. And this is just a general tip. Typically after an animation, the game takes a little bit of time to really clear the Tsums off the screen, and that takes sometimes seconds off your clock. But if you have a magic bubble handy and you pop it right after the animation, it will instantly clear all of the Tsums off the screen. So this is something that you actually will need to know when you are going to be using Gaston later on in the month. This is a very helpful tip. It really speeds up the animation and really brings down the Tsum very quickly. So that's actually the strategy that I have for Elsa and Bruni at skill level 1, 2, and 3. And like I mentioned before, the strategy does change for skill level 4, 5, and 6. So stay tuned for that. But I also want to just show you the animation on what they look like from a side-by-side comparison if they are activated at the same time. Here's Elsa's ability, and you can tell that the animation is still ongoing by looking at the top of the screen, and you see the screen's actually still frozen. So once the ice is defrosted, that's when you know the animation's over. And you can clearly tell that the skill level 3 lasts a lot longer than skill level 2, and so is skill level 1. And onto Bruni, for this one doesn't really help too much, but you can see that it really just clears a bunch of Tsums off the screen. Yeah, you can't really tell here the difference for Bruni. I also want to skip to the very end here to show you what I ended up with for coins and also for score. For skill level 1, I got 1,383 coins. Skill level 2, I got 2,115. And at skill level 3, I got 2,402. And the boost that I'm using right now is the 5-4 and the coin boost only. I didn't use a time boost or anything like that. So at skill level 3, Bruni and Elsa is actually a really good Tsum for coin earning. So anything above skill level 3 is good. But unfortunately, Elsa and Bruni is actually one of the harder Tsums to get in this month's lucky time. So if you're able to get Elsa and Bruni, congratulations, because they are a very hard Tsum to get. So that's pretty much it for Elsa and Bruni at skill level 1, 2, and 3. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and if you have any suggestions on how to properly use Elsa and Bruni, leave it in the comments below. Definitely want to read through them. I don't feel like I'm necessarily the best at it yet. It does take a little bit to learn and really practice Elsa and Bruni to get good at them. So let me know in the comments below how you are using Elsa and Bruni, and if you are using my strategy or not. And if you found this video helpful or entertaining, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And as always, thank you so much for watching.